Today on AlphaMail Mondays, we're going to talk about the coronavirus, Black History Month, some interracial dating stuff, and we're going to talk about the Black Negro color codes. Alpha Male Mondays. Here again with another episode. We got Culture Rich TV in the background, the producer, and we got yours truly here, Nafir Nunn. Now, we're going to be talking about a few things today that are a little bit controversial, but we're not afraid to discuss anything here. But when you leave here, you're going to learn something. So you got to like, subscribe, follow, so you can get the notifications and leave your questions or comments or things that you want to have addressed on the show at info@alphamalemondays.com. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about the coronavirus. Now, you know about the coronavirus, Culture Rich?
Oh, it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. It's hard not to know about it.
Everywhere as in what? It's not everywhere. It's only in a few countries.
No, I mean in terms of the information on it or misinformation on it.
That we're getting here.
We're getting here. But
yeah.
It's in the newspapers. It's on every news channel. You know what I mean? So.
Now, I remember when they had swine flu in 1976. Well, I seen because the swine flu was a little bit too in your face because you know the colloquialism when pigs fly and then you have swine flu. I was like, you guys are a little bit too brazen with your mockery program. So I went and typed in swine flu. This is years ago when the swine flu was popping in Toronto. So years ago I seen that there was a swine flu scam in 1976 that they exposed on 60 Minutes. And in this, I was like, okay, so they already know about what's popping here regarding the vaccinations. I'm not talking about if I'm pro-vac or anti-vac and all that kind of stuff. That's arbitrary.
What was the scandal? What were they doing?
Well, basically, the swine flu serum that they were trying to inject into people was making people quadriplegics and really screwing people up neurologically as well. So it was a scam. They basically said that people actually had the swine flu. It was a little bit convoluted. Either way, if you just look up on YouTube, swine flu scam 1976, you'll see it on 60 Minutes. So about 30 years later, they came with the next thing. And I've noticed that the cycles of the bullshit, it kind of repeats every 30 years. I've noticed that. So maybe every 30 years, the generation that heard it is just too tired and too belabored, doing what they have to do to make sure that their offspring and the grandchildren or whatever are okay. They're not really paying attention to what's popping currently in the current events. So when I heard this coronavirus thing, I'm like, nah, I don't know. But matter of fact, now this is some information that I'm going to disclose with you guys that not too many people really know. But I really don't get sick or get the flu. It's been a very long time. But at the beginning of this year, I did catch something. And it was hard to shake. And I don't get nothing. I have certain remedies here. If you were to do a tour of my store, you see got all the herbs. I know the different remedies. And I make sure when my immune system starts to dip that I just eat as clean as I can. Maybe not eat at all. Drink my teas, etc. And I'm good within hours. Okay? So this time, this thing licked hard. And most of the people that I know that I'm around, they felt something kind of hard last time this year as well too. So I do know that there's something out there, okay? But when it came with this coronavirus thing, I'm like, boy, this is a little bit too out of order. This is like, I know that they're going to be trying to murder off people. There's this Bill Gates conspiracies and all, and I'm not necessarily saying that I'm for or against the proofs and if I believe it's a conspiracy or not. But conspiracies exist, or else you wouldn't be able to get charged with conspiracy. So conspiracies exist. Now, the coronavirus, after looking into it, they're saying the spread of it is coming from eating bats and eating different snakes as well,
Yeah.
and rodents, basically. Okay.
Well, they centralize it to some kind of
snake is a reptile. Sorry about that, guys.
Some kind of meat grocer in Wuhan.
In one of these, yeah, and it's like Wuhan got you all in check, right? Okay, so let me tell you this. I don't know about if eating bats or snakes or eating anything is really going to promote the coronavirus. I don't know. I didn't do enough research on it. I do know this though. People have been eating bats and all that kind of stuff over there for a very long time. And whether or not I agree with it or not, I don't eat meat. So meat is meat to me. Like whatever. Like I don't really care. But if you're gonna go on and say that the bats are what's causing it or whatever, I think that you're a little bit misinformed. I don't know the science, but this is what I do know. Okay? This is what I do know. I do know that the coronavirus was patented. I think it was in 2018, and even before that, I think that they had some type of coronavirus strain. So when they're saying, "Well, this is not the same thing," of course it is not. It's a mutated version of the thing that you patented. So
Patented by who? Who patented it?
I don't remember looking at all the information. I believe it's America that patented it, but I'm not 100% sure, right? So now this is what I do know as well. I do know that the hygiene stuff over there in China, not because they're sending a lot of information our way, but because I know people that have been there, and they say that I remember this is years ago. One of my friends that plays professional sports, he was saying that when he went over there, he remembered being inside of a restaurant, and indoors, somebody pulled back their chair, big loogie horked up from their chest, and they just spit under the chair and then move their chair forward and continue to eat. And this was a thing that was happening in the restaurant. Apparently there's spit all over the roads and whatnot and stuff. Like, if this is the way that the culture and the hygiene is not appreciated, then I know disease will spread fast in a region like that. I know disease will spread fast there. Okay, so if you want to do a little test experiment, you know that disease will spread fast there. So I don't know too much about it. Like I do know that in China, they're lashing out now against the way the media is handling certain things and talking about how they're being discriminated against and dealing with racism abroad. Because if a Chinese person coughs, people are like running for cover, like if like some Arab person dropped their luggage. Okay, so the stereotypes and the racial insensitivities, I don't really give a crap about it, to be honest with you, because I'm a black guy. I've been getting out my whole life. So just welcome to the club. Now maybe you know what it feels like, and then don't do it anymore. Like, I saw you on video in the store chasing out and beating up a black woman. I seen it several times. And why are you doing that? Why are you following? Like, matter of fact, where are all the black people in China right now? We know that, the African origin of, Asia as well. We know about that. There's actually a documentary. I think the guy whose name is Eugene Adams. And you can find it. It's called Africans in Asia on YouTube. Just look it up. I have the DVD here. We've been watching stuff for a while. But it's on YouTube as well. You can find out for yourself.
I'll link it in the description.
Yeah, please do. Because that'll show you. And where are all of us now in Asia? They have little sectors. Then they call us Negrito and whatever. But, there's only one real cause that I would really put all my attention to if it's put on the table, and that's like to stop the destruction of children in Africa right now, because like they're getting decimated at an alarming rate. But now we've been talking a little bit about what's going on with racial discrimination, so we're gonna get into race. I think this is a topic that I have to attribute to Culture Rich TV over here, because he was.
Yeah, this is a big thing for me, and I think it's an important thing for us to understand within ourselves and to teach our children, because there's so many different names that we call ourselves. So some don't like to be called black, some do like to be called black. James Brown said he's black and is proud, right? So that made a lot of American people accept that black title. But then you have the Moors and say that don't like to be called black. And
right.
Some are African American. Some are.
Well, African American is Jesse Jackson.
Right.
That was Jesse Jackson.
Right.
Bro.
So I think it's important for us to.
Like Jesse Jackson told us that we're African American.
African American. Yeah.
And everybody ran with it.
Yeah.
A guy.
So what is it? What? You know what I mean? Such a sad question to really ask. In my opinion, I think it's kind of sad that
at this time
we're answering the question, what is our name?
Okay, now first of all, what I would say is this. Race is a construct, okay? So that's a made up thing. That was not the determining factor of who you're rocking with prior to like a few hundred years ago. Okay, now there's culture and there's nationality, and so people would. I know the Moors might, and I know that I'm a Moor as well, but I also don't subscribe to any labels. They're too limiting. But you see, the thing is that when the Moors came across, when the Moors came into power, that was a time when people that looked the way that a typical Moor, which would be from Morocco or from that side of Africa, they say Northern Africa, but really it's the Northern Africans at that time were not as mixed as you would see today. Okay, so you're seeing a lot of dark-skinned West African-looking people that would consider themselves to be Moors. The Moors will say one thing, and they're going to probably try to nitpick with certain things with me, but I'm not really that concerned. You see, race, as it is not real. It's not a real thing. You can look it up. You can look it up on etymonline.com, etymonline.com, and look up etymology of words. Okay. Now you see the word race as applied to humans was first. It first occurred like in 1500s. All right. Now if you look at really what's going on there, at 1492 is when they say Columbus came and colonized the different areas, and then you're seeing other individuals that you want to slave out, and you have to make it appropriate or some type of rationale or logic to slave out certain people and subordinate races. Because you see, when the European came across, and we talked about why they were probably coming across, trying to find us because shit was breaking down in their own zones. But you see, when they came across, and now they're not coming across with their women and children, they're coming across as a bunch of men. And when they have sex with the natives, they're noticing that their children don't look like them. Their children look like the natives, okay? And so after you realize this a little bit, you have to start to categorize, and if you want to maintain your racial identity, or your phenotype, because race wasn't a thing really, your phenotypical identity, so what you look like, if you want to maintain that, then you're going to have to separate yourselves, okay? So knowing that, I don't think that it's fair to really categorize individuals based on our preconceived notions, because there are so many ambiguities that occur when dealing with the genetic part when it's being translated into the phenotypical part, right? Okay, so when we're talking about what we are calling ourselves now, because there has been a distinction mismade, like even though I know it's a made-up construct, the construct exists.
It exists.
So we would have to say that there's black, then there's Negro, which again, now I could roll my eyes and say, okay, and keep going down the rabbit hole. But you know what I mean when I'm saying that. Then there's the Caucasian, or what they would be calling white. And then there'd be the Asian, which would be the Mongoloids, I guess. But Mongoloid, I think, is now a derogatory term as well. And now you have North Asians and South Asians who would say they're very distinct. So the South Asians you'd more attribute to being like the Indian and whatnot, and you'd have the South Pacific that would be like more the Filipino and whatnot. I think that would be in the more South Pacific regions there. I think my geography that was not my best subject, but I do have an idea. And then you'd have the Polynesian areas. But you see, when you start getting into the original inhabitants of all of these lands, they're black, or quote unquote black, okay? Now, what we would call ourselves is the question at hand. Now, if you call yourself black, in law, it can strip you of a lot of things.
So what does it mean in law?
In law, it means dead person, or a person with no rights, subordinate.
That's very important, man.
It is, but once you have...
We fill out paperwork claiming...
Black, right? Yeah, but we also fill out paperwork using our driver's license and social insurance number here, and social security card in the States. And once you admit to using those two, it's the same positioning. Ward of the state, or it's the same thing. And in this is why I have arguments with Moors, or I wouldn't say arguments, because I'm not really that argumentative. But this is why I say I have debates with Moors about certain things, because it doesn't matter. We don't have no army to enforce anything, and the people that we're relying on to honor the treaties that have been enforced have never honored a treaty in the whole existence of treaties. So why would I be trying to wait and rely on something that's unreliable and then say, well, this is going to make a difference if I say this or that? Right now, black, Negro, colored, African American, whatnot. Now, I would say probably the most appropriate term would be autochthonous. Okay?
Autochthonous, explain that, because I've never heard that before.
That's basically indigenous or original inhabitants. Because aboriginal is now, there's also a connotation behind that because the word ab means something and then you attach it to original.
Abstract,
right?
abnormal, right? So, yeah.
So aboriginal would be interesting as well, right? So what I would say is this. Until we have unity, okay? I was gonna say something else, but this is chess and not checkers. Chess all day. Until we have unity, okay, which will lead to a lot of other things, it doesn't matter. Because what they're seeing is what they're perceiving us to be. So if you look like me, a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, and you're not passing for white, okay? You're not passing for Asian, and you're not passing for Spanish, which is a whole next thing that we might get into. We're gonna get into the Spanish thing?
We'll cover that next time.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're not, like, if you're being identified as black, then, or Negro, or colored, or whatever, it would be wise, I think, to show solidarity with others who have a similar disposition phenotypically as you do. Now you have the Hebrew Israelites that are going to say, well, no, we have this group because it's part of the 12 tribes. They belong to us as well, and the Africans don't belong. And it's like, listen, guys.
You know, that's very interesting that you mentioned, like, people from the continent that that I've encountered here. I remember a guy in high school, and he always used to say to me, "You black guys are funny." And I used to say, "So what are you? You're calling me a black guy?" But then I realized that they don't consider themselves. It wouldn't make sense.
No.
For a person from Africa to say that they're
because everybody's the same.
Everybody's the same
over there, so they didn't have to make a distinction.
They identify themselves according to the tribes they come from.
Right, and there's certain names that I've heard that translate to the people and certain things like that as well, right?
Yeah.
Now, still,
no, there's other names. You didn't cover things like melanated peoples.
But everybody's melanated.
Well, the more melanated people.
Now, so
white
now
people don't call themselves melanated. I'm saying.
But white people, okay, but this is a whole thing.
Or Caucasian, sorry.
Well, okay, fair, because white people are really people of the white cloth, which is.
Right.
Look, guys, I know the science. All right, it's not like I don't know the science. I just don't get into it all the time. See, now the people have to understand that when you're going to start nitpicking, you got to be accurate, because if you start nitpicking, you're going to be nitpicked. Okay. Now, in order for humans to function on planet Earth, melanin is mandatory. Okay? Mandatory.
Melanin is more valuable than gold, bro.
Yeah, but
per ounce, way more valuable.
Sure.
Yeah.
But so is a human organ. You know what I mean? Like melanin. If you don't have melanin, you can't exist here. So even the albinos have melanin, but the melanin is not dermal melanin. There's other forms of melanin as well. Okay, so not going to get into all the science behind melanin, but the reason why melanated people could be confusing as well is when you start to nitpick. So I would say that the wise thing to do, and honestly, I have a lot more experience to go through to consider myself wise, but I would say that the wise thing to do would be to rock with whoever looks like you for the time being until we have the platform to start making distinctions. Because right now we're just being slumped in with you're black. So it doesn't really matter what we're saying. It's not like if we have any. Okay, this is I'm not gonna give you all the game, but you see, the Asians that I know, all right, are very in touch with Asia. Okay, they're in tune with Asia. So you see, if something happens where an Asian is dissed. Like, for example, how they're claiming, how the reason why I'm seeing on news feeds and media that Asians are upset because they're being racially discriminated against, okay? Because because as a black guy, right?
It's a corona,
Right.
Yeah.
But as a black guy, we all know that racial discrimination is going on against black people, but you don't get to see it on the news every day. It's not like something that's happening on one in the two times, right? So why is this getting press? And this is because you see all the investments they have in China. When China says, "Hey, you cut this shit out, or you're not getting the stuff, or we're gonna raise the price, or we're gonna cut that off," people start to quiver and they shut up. Okay. But the thing is that Africa is way more valuable in resources than any other place on this planet. And if we tie ourselves to an actual landmass, because you see, the thing is that I know that we're everywhere first, and there's information saying that we were in America before we were in Africa and all. And in my estimation, when Pangea was there, I think that along the equatorial belt, people sprung up. Now, the mechanism by which they sprung up, we can talk about it another time, but mine is not religious, okay? But you see, like, it's not, I'm not dealing with religion when I'm talking about that, okay? So, you see, the black people in Africa is the largest landmass that we could say, you know what, we could tie ourselves to that with 1 billion plus people, and so that anytime something negative comes out towards us, we could say, well, guess what? No more cell phones, guys. No more computers, guys. You gotta recycle that iPhone 11, even though it should be iPhone 27. You gotta recycle 11 because you ain't getting no more product until you correct what's going on. But there's too much separation between African in Africa and Africans in America, or Americans that are indigenous, autochthonous, Moorish, or whatever you want to call yourself.
So many
Okay, right? But we look the same. When you go over there, you're gonna see guys that look the same, and the look isn't the only thing. Because that can bring us to another issue where you see, because out of the black woman, you can get every phenotype. Every phenotype. Okay? Now, this is not saying that the black man has nothing to do with it, because you have to get the sperm from somewhere. Okay? But you see, out of the black woman, any phenotype can result. You can have blonde hair, blue eyes, freckle, red hair, the whole thing. Right? So, that's why I don't really rock with the race thing as much as others until I start going more into the genetic aspect of it. And that's when I say that anybody with quote unquote black in them is black.
We're trying to make a complex thing simple. Right?
I don't know what to, but for me, I just say black and make it simple. I just say black. Even though if you look up in the etymon of the word black, it really means white or pale or bleached, okay? Even though it means that. Who even knows what etymon is? Most of the people that have graduated, and Sister Yafa Bey, she's a Moor who has a lecture on YouTube called Piercing the Fog. Now I have the lecture here in my DVD collection because YouTube didn't have all this information before. We had to actually gather it up, transfer from VHS, all kinds of stuff. Okay.
Taking it down soon, the way they're moving. So.
Yeah. So look it up now if you get a chance. Yafa Bey, and it's called Piercing the Fog, and she shows people how to use a dictionary. And I'm telling you this, I'm a university grad, okay, and I didn't know how to use a dictionary. Okay?
One of my favorite DVDs.
I didn't know how to use a dictionary. Because I wasn't looking at the certain things, how the words are formed, etc. When you look up the word black, you'll notice that black is the same word that makes up blank, blanca. How do you say white in all these other languages? Blanco, blanca, blanche, blanc, and that's just remove the N, you get black, right? However, nobody really knows this. So I'm just going to be confusing you if I say, well, no, you're not black, you're Moor, and I'm going to waste precious time when I got to sell these shea butters and all kind of other things that I got to do, right? Because somebody got to make the shit too. So, it's just a waste. It wastes too much time, and there's not enough infrastructure for us to defend the talk anyway. So, moving on.
So, can a person be pro-black but have a next race spouse? Whether it be a man or a woman, either one.
Now, to me, that question is an interesting question, but sure. It's a very emotional question. It triggers people, and when you're dealing with logic, sometimes you gotta just take away the emotion. Okay, sometimes, all right. Now, other times the emotion is key in the logic, but in circumstances like this, an individual. Love is going to be love. You're gonna find individuals that you can rock with that are on your vibration in many different races. And yes, I think it would be ideal for us to show the world that we rock with our own strategically. Okay? But you see, entertainers, they're just people too. Okay? Now I know doctors that black doctors, as soon as they get into circles, the medical circles, especially like even in Toronto, it's like only one real medical school here. Well, there's holistic medical schools, but it's one, like there's one official medical school, and it's University of Toronto Medical School. Okay, and everybody's trying to get into that medical school. When you get in, well, you think there's a lot of black women inside the medical school. There's not. And at the soirees, at the parties, and you're seeing mostly non-black. So those are the people you're going to be interacting with and interfacing with most of the time. You think it's any different in the acting world or any of the upper echelons of money? You really think it's going to be different? I don't think it's going to be different. So these individuals might have the pro-black heart, but just ended up getting caught up with somebody that's not black at the time. Now, I can't say this is the case for everybody. I can't say that. But your actions will speak louder than your words, okay? So, yes, the optic of you having a white wife is an action. But if you hired all black people, and if you're trying to put out good black messages in movies, like, for example, Mr. Peele, Jordan Peele, he's put out some excellent material. In my mind, he's put out the biggest expose of how certain people move in the movie Get Out. He has a white spouse, all right? Now, I see the guy from Power that all the girls love. You're just Ben because he's with a white chick. That's it.
Well, Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost. Now, Ghost, there's a lot of flack you're catching online, and people are saying that your wife looks like Marilyn Manson.
What? Well,
Now, put the picture up, because I have no comment. Ghosts. Dealing with ghosts. Anyway, so, but I still think that he's a brilliant actor. A brilliant actor.
Is he pro-black minded?
I don't know. I've never met the guy.
No, I mean in terms of the content he puts out, because he does have a podcast.
I've never seen his podcast.
Yeah, he has a pretty popular podcast. I'm not really in tune with it, but
I've never seen. I watch a few podcasts out there.
Yeah.
Corey Holcomb, 5150. You get my thumbs up every single time. Now, I don't know if he's pro-black or not. I don't know. I know that he's accepted roles that are really good, and he's an amazing actor. I think he's awesome as an actor, okay? But he is reading a script, okay? So, like, it's not his words. I don't know who he is as an individual. Sidney Poitier, okay? Like, that individual there is, like, one of the greats. He's one that people aspire to be as good an actor and whatnot.
James Earl Jones, Mufasa.
Like...
Yeah, he's got a
Darth Vader, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Conan's dad, you know what I mean? Like, or like, it's too much. Like, these guys are under different conditions than we are. Okay, so when they're picking these white spouses or non-black spouses, I don't know if they're pro-black or not. But you see, there's a guy named Sheikh Anta Diop. You know who Sheikh Anta Diop is? Okay.
Doctor,
all right. Now he's the one that is like this. He spearheaded Egyptology, and he had like carbon dating machines and other type of analysis things that he showed chemically that the mummies were black and that the ancient Egyptians were black. Okay, and he is groundbreaking. His wife is white. So he's not pro-black. Like, you guys gotta be careful. So to me, I think it is extremely possible for a gentleman or lady who is black that has a white spouse to be pro-black. I think it's extremely possible. Is it probable? That's a whole different story. Okay? Now, people like Serena Williams, people like Eve
and
okay,
Hillary
from Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I don't know her name. Catherine
It
something.
seems like they're all winning
Yeah,
when you go online,
that's another thing.
and now this is why I understand, because you see, as Dame Dash would say, it's a lot of chatty patty shit going on, and it's gossip. You know what I mean? So the gossip, I don't think it's men out here, unless the men are just trying to pander and they're pandering for pom pom online, saying, look at these bad blacks over here. They're dating white girls. Date me. I don't date white girls. Like, you're just pandering. And so that narrative comes out. But if you look at the statistics, okay, this is statistics from, I believe it was 2010. 89% of black men marry black women.
Yeah.
So if it's only 11% not doing it, it's not an issue.
But my issue is with this. When a black, let's just keep it to the entertainers, because that's what we see in front of our face more times.
But why do we see them in front of our face more times?
Beyond that though, when
Okay.
it's a black male entertainer with a white woman. Oh, he's a sellout.
Of course. Of course.
When it's a black female entertainer or a person of influence with a white spouse, oh, she came up.
But that's
she won.
That's what I'm saying.
She's upgrading.
She's come up. You know what I mean?
She's a come up.
But
she's
okay.
upgrading him and all this. What's that?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's like the narrative is being controlled because the narrative, and this is another topic we got to get into as well. The narrative of black people is being controlled by the ones who are online posting all the time. Okay? So this is why the narrative is the black woman is on the come up dealing with the white guy because it's black women sharing the narrative. It's them pushing that program. And then the only issue that I have with that is I don't think that it comes genuinely from black people. I think a lot of it is agents in disguise, a lot of imposters pushing out little seeds.
So
they
create fake profiles.
Of course. And I've been saying this for years because I got attacked by a few of them.
That's not crazy to me.
And I've been exposing that shit for years. I went on Facebook for the first time when I had to drop an album. This was like 2008, okay? And back then I started noticing there's too much niggas be like and bitches be like posts to the point where I was like, wait a minute. This is some imposter shit. You keep pushing this message out and I'm seeing it way too much. And as long as one black person laughs at it or co-signs to it, then all of a sudden it's viral. The way that information is being thrown out there, I don't say it's necessarily all us doing it.
I think we need to keep that in mind as well. That there's a lot of fake accounts, imposters trying to infiltrate. Man, I go on WorldStar a lot. Oh, buddy, on WorldStar it's you're right, man.
Bro, it's a bunch of imposters. So what we have to do, this is what I would suggest doing. I don't normally give out any type of planning or anything because I understand where we are and you don't show kinks in your armor. You know what I mean? So but this is what I would suggest doing. Don't diss nothing black in front of non-black. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. You're on Facebook in your black group. Trust me, it's not just your black group. Okay? Post some bullshit up. Post that racism started like in your black group and see if you don't get a Facebook. You're banned for 3 days. You're banned for 7 days. Like how the hell do they know? Because their algorithms are peeping you. You know what I'm saying? So for the interracial couple thing, I think it's possible. It's 1,000,000,000% possible if 1,000,000,000% is possible. Okay? And it is because everything's possible. But probable, I don't know. I'd say maybe 50-50. Who knows? Either way, they're entertainers. They read scripts. I wouldn't look to the entertainer for your cues unless you're trying to be an entertainer and then follow in their path and be an entertainer and make some coin if that's what you're trying to do. But like I wouldn't really say to myself, you know what? Idris Elba said that I should XYZ for my shea butter company. You ain't that little shea butter company? So I got to take my own lead and go with that, all right? So that's that for that. Now, Black History Month. We got some Black History Month facts to drop on you guys, right? So Black History, no, we don't got no Black History Month facts to drop on you guys because every single day is Black History. Every day, okay? Now, for Black History, if you were expecting the colonist who has suppressed Black history and the Black origins of things since their inception, you're expecting them to teach your kids, really, about Black history? Really? That's not their job. Their job is actually the opposite. So I wouldn't expect them to do that. I can give you some Black history facts right now if you'd like. I can give you a 1, 2, 3. But this is what I'll do instead of that, okay? I'll give you some authors to check out. Claude Anderson, one of the top dogs. Claude Anderson. Look at his book Powernomics, and he has a book called Secret. We're gonna put it up on the thing, but it's Dirty Little Secrets or something like that. Something. Claude Anderson is probably the top dog, I'd say, as to if you want to follow a model or follow a plan to deal with yourself economically, look up Claude Anderson. This guy is one of the heaviest. Also, Frances Cress Welsing, she has the ISIS papers. It's called The Keys to the Colors. You might want to look that book up as well. That book is very heavy and it will help you understand the keys to the colors. Okay. Now, there's a few other books that I can mention right now, and
we'll mention them along the month, but that was good.
Just two? Just two for now?
If you have more, keep them going.
Okay. Let's go with Dr. Layla Africa. African Holistic Health. Okay? Now that book there is the one that will help you examine yourself and eat in a way which will optimize your existence while you're here on this dimension. Okay? So, that's 3 books. You're not going to get through all of them in 1 week, and I'll be back next week, so we'll give you some more next week, all right? So, now there's a few themes that I want to cover, but the main thing is really just one theme, but it's going to be things that branch off from there, okay? We were talking about the colors and the colorism stuff, and there's an individual by the name of Taj Tariq Bey, okay? And that individual is an elder in the community. In the Moorish science community, he's an elder as well. Now, I've been seeing online people trying to diss this guy. Now, I don't know what's going on. I don't follow up in all the new current events and all the debate stuff. Like, I don't have time. I'm in the lab making superior shea butter. And you will see the commercial break either before this moment now or after. But you'll see it. Okay? Now, apparently he's taking some flack. But this is what we have to start understanding. This guy has been on the flex trying to show people about how to correct their status since before most of these new guys were born. Okay? Dude needs to be respected. The individuals like Saw Netter. Most of this stuff you wouldn't even have access to if it wasn't for Saw Netter. Okay? So even though he might not say things that I always agree with or whatnot, this is an individual that I've built with. I've ordered DVDs from to expand my collection so that I can push out DVDs through different channels and various channels. Now, these guys are elders in the community. You gotta stop dissing the elders, all right? Yeah, I know they're the, what do they call them? The boomers? The boomers, that's what they're calling them, okay? But listen, guys. These guys have been putting it down since before you were born. Saw Netter had people, Caucasian people, kissing his boot on the road. 125th Street in Harlem, okay? Before enough of you guys were born. Before enough of you guys even came into consciousness a couple years ago. Before you were calling yourself woke and all that stuff. These guys were putting it down on VHS tapes, all right? I've had to convert a number of them into DVD. They need to be respected, okay? So, you see, this comes into the aspect, this realm of truth spreading on Instagram and on social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, okay? Now, I was in a conversation with a gentleman, and he asked me a question, and then I basically responded to him like this. The answer to all those questions in that vein would be, is it helping advance or helping black people progress or achieve their goals? If the answer is yes, then my answer is yes. And if it is not, and if it is detrimental to our progress, I'll say the answer is no. Okay? So that applies to everything. Now, you see, when everybody wants to be so divided, we were just talking about the colorism stuff, and people will say, well, no, you're a Hebrew, you're a Muslim, no, I'm allegiant with the Moors, no, I'm a black, no, okay? With all of these different things that are occurring, all right? there's too much separation. Willie Lynch talked about separating young from the old, and the light from the dark, and the fat from the slim. And Willie Lynch might not even be a real guy. I don't care about that. The theme applies. Okay, guys? And so when we're so divided, and we can't even agree as to what the truth is, who gives a fuck what the truth is? Let's win. How about let's win? See, spreading the truth. What is the truth? Your truth is different from his truth, different from her truth, different from its truth, different from all. It's just too much. It's too much. So right now, let's win. So when you see a person that looks like you, let's do what they do and just support and insulate. Just support. Even if you see them doing some messed up stuff. Well, you know, that person had mental health issues. They were bullied. Well, you know, the post-traumatic slave syndrome. Well, you know, you can make up an excuse. Give him the bly every time. Every time. For anyone of you that looks like us. Because you see, even when Kobe Bryant passed away and people were so quick to talk nonsense. See, when Elton John gets anointed or whoever, okay? You don't have no white guys coming out saying, oh, well, he shouldn't be, because you don't see that, okay? And they understand flex. Like, everybody has their bad apples and the rotten apples in their collectives, but it seems like only we seem to highlight them. And I think that's like showing our dirty laundry in public, which is not something that you're supposed to do, okay? So first, let's win. Let's start controlling our own platforms. Let's start controlling our own media conglomerates, okay? Then we can start spreading whatever information we want to spread. We don't have to rely on somebody else who is trying to take advantage of us to spread our information. We control the information because we're sitting at the winner's seat or the winner's circle or the winning table. And what we do from this point, we can start pushing out Hebrew truth or Moorish truth or whatever truth, or even really the truth. But first, we gotta win. Peace, power, and positive vibes coming to you from Superior Shea Butter Blends. This is Nafir Nunn and Culture Rich TV signing out.